Hello and welcome to my first ever podcast episode. This is exciting. This is something that I've wanted to do for a long time. The vision of it is to grow, to travel with it, to talk to interesting guests, to share my own experience, to give some tools, awarenesses, to give some freebies out, to kind of raise the awareness of how we can actually be self-empowered, how we can use tools, practices, how we can use our body to transform and to, move through this changing world where we are changing, where life is changing in the most healthy and balanced way. I want to find people that are inspiring. I want to find people that light me up, that kind of visionaries, that people who are leading their own lives, but also who are kind of moving through the world and going with the flow and changing where they need to. So not just interviewing people that are, highly successful, it's the people that have made transformation in themselves and that journey, what that transformation represented, how they found it hard, how they moved from one career to another, how they started up a community in a welfare a community project, how they're kind of being leaders of this new world, visionaries, artists, people that are kind of doing what they can for humanity and for the world, because now more than ever, I think we need people to be leaders and to be living the change and not relying on government structures and failing systems that we know do not serve the many, they serve the few. So within this podcast space, I want to be talking about things that have helped me. So my journey with breathwork, with yoga, with massage, with embodiment, with coaching, with these tools, practices, sharing little nuggets of wisdom, sharing things that have helped me, talking about my own experience with it, so that you guys can, take little pieces that might resonate with you, that might help you, and share when I publish it on social media, share your experience, share what landed for you, what didn't land, your opinion on it, so I can grow too. I'm not trying to create this podcast so that I can talk about how authoritative I am, but I can talk about subjects that I have much experience on, and hopefully you can start these, conversations around our well-being, the planet's well-being, nature, community, freedom, transformation in our lives, and these really pillars of my life that I love to talk about. And do you know what? It's the most, I do transformational coaching with people, and I help people to explore their own inner world so that they can actually make the changes that they need to, that they know they can do, but maybe they just need a guide or someone to hold space or to create a framework for them to actually make the changes that they need. And oftentimes, this is really about creating alignment between the words that we say to ourselves, I want change, I want to do this with my life, I want to stop reacting to my partner, and the actual doing, the actual action of it. And those, when they're in alignment, we often make really powerful changes. And me doing this podcast is me talking about and speaking about doing a podcast for a long time now. And it actually took me until now. I've recorded little bits here and there, but I just said to my coach that I have, we were talking about when the podcast is going to start, and I said, today, I'm going to do the podcast today. I'm going to start it today. I'm just going to talk 15 minutes or so around starting a podcast. What's present in my life currently, and any things that I've got coming up, and just share my vision for what I'm doing. So this is me following through with my actions on the words that I have talked about. So it's like me planted the seed, but actually, creating the right conditions for the seed to turn into a beautiful plant or flower. So I guess what is present for me at the moment is this topic of, I'm always thinking about the world. I'm always thinking about where we are as a planet, how we can live more closely to nature, how we can decrease the footprint, the toxicity that we leave on the land. And, we're all works in progress. There is always different opinions and information out there that can feel really misleading, misguiding, and take us away from our center. I think what's really important is that we return back to ourselves. Our connection to ourselves will help us to connect to the nature around us, to the people. And I think then we start to hear the answers, like for me, it's listening really intently to myself, getting connection with myself, made me aware that maybe I was on a path of self-abandonment, not so deep, but I was partying a lot. And I still occasionally do, like it's okay to party, it's okay to celebrate life. That's fine, I love to do that. I've come full circle in that way and realized that it's a healthy expression of me. I love to dance, I love to listen to music, I love to party. But where I was losing my energy was just doing it every weekend and living a life that wasn't really aligned to me. So, taking back my energy has made me start a podcast, start a coaching business in the last few years, and actually put my energy and effort into that, into creating something different. And I want my services to benefit people. I don't want to do it otherwise, I want to have fun recording podcasts, have fun doing workshops, have fun coaching people. But I want that ultimately to be of service. I want that to benefit people so that they enjoy what I have to offer, but also, benefit from it, If we can all come together and realize that we must come together as a nation, as a people, as a community, as a family, in these kind of group energies, and start to create the world that we want to see rather than waiting for government to do it. I think that's us leading ourselves into the new world in a much more powerful way. I think when we're waiting for change, it feels frustrating. It feels very frustrating. We're waiting for the next political party to come in, the next leader to come in. And, in the last 10 years, barely any political leaders have lasted in their positions because they find it so hard to make change. The public are so split and polarized. But what's really important is that we, control the only thing we can control, which is the way we show up, the way we take action, the way we respond to the world. And I think the more responsible people we have, so the people that are empowered by their ability to respond, the more of these kind of people we have, the better we are. If say Joe Bloggs is fully responsible, their ability to respond is empowered, they can think, right, okay, the current state of affairs in their village is that there's some problems going on. How they choose to respond to that is their responsibility. And that's really powerful, If multiple people, if all of us start to come online and realize that there is something we can always do, is we can be better leaders, we can be better in our business, we can be better in our family, in our relationships. Those little effects ripple out and slowly change the whole ecosystem that we are part of, and society changes. So it may look like, I just want to be a better partner, I want to be a better in my business, better father, better mother. Those still make a huge impact. And then can we grow that community process? Can we start to grow our own vegetables? Can we start to live better in our communities? Can we start to take back our power and not rely on the government systems above us? So this is our ability to respond. And when we work on that, we get out of our individual dramas, our individual stresses, and we work through that. And I certainly believe the connection to this process of what I'm talking about starts with focusing on us, realizing and recognizing where we're giving our power away, where we're kind of blindsided, where we're chasing fantastical dreams or things that actually don't matter, and then getting really in touch with what we really want and why we want it. Like, I want to live in a safe community. I want to live in a place that supports me and I support other people. And it's this healthy ecosystem of looking after ourselves, the nature, the vulnerable, and we live in a healthy ecosystem that we all get to benefit from and we feel safe. You just look, I live in Bristol right now and I look around me and I see so many lost souls that are probably mistreated, abused, abandoned, and they have reasons to be hurting themselves and chasing substances or alcohol or living on the streets. They have reasons to be there. I have full compassion for that. But that's how we treat these people. And if we live in an ecosystem that looks after one another much better, then we live in a much better ecosystem, and we stop waiting for the government to look after us in that way. And I truly believe that starting this podcast is going to help me connect with the people that are doing this work. Maybe they are alternative therapists, alternative healers. Maybe they're just therapists. Maybe they're coaches. Maybe they're people who have turned their life around. Maybe they're people that are visionaries. Maybe they're people that are just really embodied. They say what they mean and they do what they say. Those are inspiring people too. So hopefully it can be a portal for inspiring characters. And actually, if you're still listening, if you have any ideas about what name my podcast could be, I want it to be, my Instagram name is Inspire with Finn. And I want it to be inspirational conversations from inspiring people that aren't just CEOs of companies, that aren't just business, someone who can give you business advice. It's like people that are living in this world, they're grounded in reality, but they are inspiring people that are making change in their family, in their relationship, in their business, yes, but they're not just, do this trick, do this 5 tips. I want people to be real, and I want them to be inspiring people through that mechanism. So I lead workshops. That's one of the things I do, and I'm going to be starting a 4-week workshop program in September for the Wednesday the 9th onwards. So get in touch if you're interested. But the workshops are going to be designed for you to understand yourself a little bit better. So we use techniques such as breath work to balance the nervous system. We do self-inquiry, so questions around, what you want. What's your deeper why? What's driving you underneath? Where your blind spots are, which you won't necessarily know about. But we'll do techniques that will help you to understand where you're giving your energy away, where you're not seeing, where you're depleting your energy, and so on. There's going to be different workshops around these subjects to help you, first of all, get clear about what you want, understand your blind spots, and the other 2 workshops are going to be centered around telling a new story, which is really important because a lot of the time we ask for something and we tell a story of the lack of it, and we walk around in circles. If I'll make that real, for instance, if I want to travel and live a hybrid lifestyle, which is something I do want to do whilst recording podcasts and being a coach, if I'm talking about how I don't have enough money for that, or where's the money going to come from, or do I not believe in it, and I'm telling my story of lack, those 2 things are very differently, and that's going to show up in my life. I'm not going to get what I really want because I don't believe it, I don't talk it into existence, and then I don't take the action necessary. So that's a really important one. Really important to tell the story of what you actually want and line up with it and then act from that place. And lastly, this is a big one for my workshops, is transforming your state. You want to be able to hold what you've asked for. And that is done in the nervous system, the emotional body, and the capacity in your nervous system and body to not just ask for something, but hold it energetically and not lose your energy. So if I was to ask for this traveling lifestyle, this hybrid lifestyle of coaching and traveling the world and doing podcasts, if I don't feel safe in that, then I'm going to abandon it. I'm going to self-sabotage it. I'm going to run away from myself, from those things, from the dreams that I have. So I need to make it feel safe in the body. And that's done through many different techniques, but mostly through mantra, through writing it down, through appreciating it, through starting to take action from that place. And there's loads of other things, and I'll go into that in the workshops. And so it's this 4-part process these 4 workshops are going to lead. And I can't wait to do it. But other than that, I'm going to be doing this monthly workshop, monthly or bi-weekly podcast. And yeah, I can't wait to share this with you. It's been a long time coming, and I'm going to be interviewing different guests that are going to be really exciting. We'll be talking about the breath, the body, the emotions, current affairs, how we can stay sane in this changing world. And hopefully it's going to leave you empowered and inspired, enjoying these conversations, enjoying a grounded and real conversation from someone who's on the ground and someone who has come from a different background. I'll tell you about my experience with that. I'm going to interview my dad, hopefully my mum one day too. My dad's a wise man who's lived many different lives in one life, and he's got some interesting stories. So if it serves you in one way, it's to leave you entertained on what growing up in the 50s, 60s, 70s was like for a hippie who was living a crazy life and traveling the world. So yeah, I can't wait to share that with you. And thanks for listening so far. This has been really exciting to get this off the ground and just to tell you my vision, tell you what I'm going to do, some upcoming workshops and things like that. And this is a space, for interaction. So if you ever feel called to write a comment in YouTube or in Instagram, please like and subscribe, follow along the journey and interact with me. These topics are what I'm going to talk about. I want them to serve the purpose for serving the community and you guys. So if you feel like, okay, I'm struggling in this, like relationally, how can I help you in that way? How can we talk or even talk to someone else about exploring these topics so that this podcast serves you guys, it inspires you, it guides you, it opens parts of your brain or opens parts of you that maybe need exploring. So thank you so much for listening. And I am going to be doing this a lot more. So thanks for listening and have a beautiful, wonderful day. Much love.